I guess technically, like the way the paintings are made and a lot about the way they look is inspired, if you like, by Baroque painting, and that would be Caravaggio and Ribera, who's a Spanish painter who works in a similar sort of way. The really close attention to the painting is also very much, it's not just to get something looking right, as you know, looking exactly like something. It's also about just sort of paying close attention to something that's, you know, basically a little sock tied up in string, tied up in thread, which is, you know, kind of strange, I think, in a way. And it is part of sort of the still life tradition, which is, you know, to give close attention to what are kind of otherwise just humble everyday materials. And that becomes part of the work as well. If I talk about, you know, the chaos of everyday life and the unruly emotions and so on, you know, that is to talk about sort of the everyday stuff that I guess I'm saying we need to pay a little bit closer attention to. I think people quite often don't realise what a painting in the flesh does that you know, a reproduced image, like a digital image or whatever, can do. So, I mean, you know, I'm kind of horrified at how many people look at paintings on the net and feel like they know what the painting is. I mean, yeah, you can see certain things. I do it myself, but it seems like we've kind of forgotten that the painting is an object and that it's materials on a surface. It's not just colour. Smaller pieces, they have, they're less kind of, I don't know whether threatening's the word, but they seem less loaded. And you know, scale is a really important thing in painting, obviously. They're not too confronting, whereas a work like this, I actually, when I was figuring out the size of it, I lay down on the floor and I taped the length of my body just so that it did have the exact scale, basically, of a human body. Which reminds me, when I first started thinking about it, I wasn't thinking about the Pietro, I was thinking about a nude. So the scale of a nude and the kind of the shape of a classical nude. So yeah, so this one, I think you do kind of relate to much more with your body rather than just with your eyes. It is almost like the absent body. I mean, if I was to do a life drawing, that, you know, I'd be happy. I'd be happier if there was some drapery around the figure. Oh, you know, it's really hard to sort of understand why. It just seems so much richer in terms of meaning for me. And it is sort of about folds, and there is this whole body of theory around the fold, and Deleuze is responsible for most of that. And he sort of says that the fold it's neither inside nor outside. It kind of bridges between, it goes between the inside and the outside. And he actually talks about Baroque painting in those terms as well. So the dark and the light. It's almost about trying to break up that surface that is between me and you, between my kind of sense of my internal world and the external world. So, you know, maybe the folds of the drapery are just more useful to me for talking about the kinds of things that I'm talking about. So, as I say, you know, they kind of refer to the body, but they're not so much about the body as a skin envelope. It's more about the body as a kind of a site that moves through, a moving site, a moving target almost, that moves through the world and is kind of marked by the world and dented, and things come out and things go in, and so it's more, rather than being a kind of a cohesive, bounded thing, it's kind of part of the world in lots of different ways.